Hello, my name is Ethan, and welcome back to another episode of Path of Exile Standard League. Somebody wanted me to say that, because technically it's kind of true, even though I'm not actually playing Standard. But, either way, how you guys doing? Welcome back to another episode. This one is about, basically early stuff to look forward to, early stuff to do with the build, how to make the build, early powerful things that can upgrade the build that are pretty SSF friendly, and everyone can do each of these things, and everyone knowing about them shouldn't really make them to be super expensive and super rare. So people should just be dropping these, and we should be able to trade for them or even get them ourselves through Essence and crafting. And I'll go through it here. So real quick, I have my new, and this is just like when you finish the maps 116. So the only difference is I pathed here to the Mystic Bulwark and then the life here. So instead I came from above and we got the extra golem, so we can run the extra chaos golem, so that we have you can drop phantasm for chaos golem. That's what I show in my endgame links. And then you have the extra physical damage reduction. So the logic I had here is that the 5% and then another 70%, so it's like 7 to 7.5%, and then that's pretty good for 3 points, right? Physical damage reduction, and then it also increases the effect of the stone golem, so it's not too bad. Especially we're a minion build, so we can actually keep golems alive. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be tankier than our zombies. And then yeah, so that was just us. I needed to go over that real quick, just so anyone going from the league starter that I recommended to this understands that it's just a tiny little change here, which is before we've even started the league, which is great. So small min maxes. So part of the normal tree, I figured you can fill in jewels and what jewels you could look for and what items to look for the early. So let's assume that you finish the campaign, you're at mapping, you're tier 1 mapping. You can do these things. So I've made a bunch of items, and I started with the weapons. I went for 2 here. You can go for 2 deafening essence of fears on the weapons, and then you can just craft res. On the helmet, I just went for life and chaos, and then you can craft res. Life lightning on the chest plate. The reason this isn't anything more is because early I'm going to buy a 6-link corrupted armor ES chest plate that's gonna have the right colors. So for my early colors, it's 1 green, 2 red, 3 blue, I'm pretty sure. Whatever colors you need for your 6-link is what you'll buy. And then the glove is just simple life chaos. Life move speed on the boots is my priority, and then I got some 1 res, and I crafted res. Ami is life chaos. So this is if you're trying to get chaos capped because you want to start the conquerors and you're going to be going into Alhazman. Technically you could ignore the chaos on each of these items and it'd be really easy, and I specifically do not get chaos on the unset rings anymore because it's obnoxious and really hard and too many people go for it and they're so rare, and so I just go for regular resistances on the unset rings now, so it's way easier. This is way better for trade league too. So yeah, I like all the stuff I've done. Then Stygian Vice, Life, Chaos, Simple. And then if you're missing a bit of Chaos Res early, it's honestly okay. It's mostly for the AFK Blight that we're getting the Chaos Res. And for Alhazman Influence, because we don't like dying, even though we're softcore. Who likes dying? So then you have Life Taunt on the one in your Stygian Vice. I went for Life Taunt. This one, Life Blind. And then I have life and damage when you've used a skill recently. I went for 4 of those just to fill in the extra jewel sockets to show what you can do for your early stuff. This is early items. So then I show mid-game, and mid-game I slot in Montegruel's Grasp to show how you can take your 8 zombies to 4, and then the damage is it's pretty interesting, and then what it does for bossing and stuff, it's kind of cool. And it's pretty much the same thing, but it's just showing how you can slot in a Montegruels and then get a little bit more cold res somewhere else to make up for the cold res you're missing from the one, and then you can run Montegruels for bossing maybe when you're just trying to get Atlas progression potentially. You just maybe need the zombie survivability, and then it's good for bossing because that's exactly what you wanted, and it might be a budget option early. I'm kind of praying that this is going to be a thing, and that this is like a common thing that most people can rely on. I hope. That would be really cool if this was like the super OP zombie thing the whole time. That'd be insane. Because we actually, now I show you end game, and also I have an extra tree, 117 in cluster. Okay, so it's really different. I know. Lose the Ravenous Horde, lose the Grave Intentions. We're ended up Brutality. We're down here, so it's this. So different 6 link down here. I have my endgame links. So the tree, I'll go over the tree first. We took out this. We took out Grave Intentions. We took out Ravenous Horde. We anointed Ravenous Horde. We take all of the spell block on the skill tree. We take a shield now. We run a shield with Shaper Influence with Recover Life on block. And so I really like the block version of Necro with Bone Offering and the block shield. It looks insane. I like it. It looks fun. Sounds fun. And for early game, like, that's pretty strong, right? So I'm interested in it, and some of the reasons why I took out this stuff is attack speed. It's kind of useless because if you look at the ratio, if my zombies attack, they need to attack 3 times with the slam for the cooldown to matter, right? So how fast is it? How long does it take to attack 3 times? Well, they're attacking 1.5 times a second, so in 2 seconds they've attacked 3 times. So there's 1 second of them walking around where they're not slamming. So and this is with Pulverize, which slows their attack speed. So it's really cool. And even without the frenzy charges, it's still not good enough. So it's really cool what we've done for the build. I'm really excited for how this is gonna feel. And I ran only 1 large cluster for the start of the end game. I think we will run 2 as a temporary budget option for my real end game, which will include like maybe the Dread Banner enchant and shit, maybe some aura effect, because I noticed that if I take this Sovereignty, these 3 points, it's equal to 4% Rotting Claw. I mean 4% Dread 4% Impale chance, yes. And so if we're getting only 12% from Rotting Claws now, and we can get 4% from Sovereignty, these 3 points from Aura Effect, it starts to make me think, wow, Aura Effect, dude, isn't that pretty good? Because then it like super triple quad dips, and it's still going to be Aura stack. Yeah, because they nerfed everything else. Holy shit, it's still going to be Aura stacking in the end. Either way, so this is like the game's end game, but not actually our end game. We're not done here. This is just like where this is going to take the build really well, and it's going to feel better, and I'll explain why this is the skill tree I went for. So obviously only 1 Rotting Claws, and our Impale is only 82. So if you ran an extra Rotting Claws, you go to 94, but it's really hard to fit, and I only took this is only a 94. We could have put it at a higher level, but I just wanted to show it like this. This is a more well-rounded 94 end game with items, okay? So obviously we can take this farther, and we are going to take this farther, and we will get 100% Impale. We will get the 100% Impale back, but from the League starter to this, I want to take the jump, okay? So I showed the mid game and the early game. Now let me explain these items. So we'll start with the shield. I told you the Shaper Shield for the recover 5% of life on block. That's nice. Helmet is the other big one. I went for a +2 socketed minion gems helmet with socketed gems are supported by level 16 minion life. And so this will keep your specters. And I also put in the helmet the Animate Guardian. And I even explain here that the Animate Guardian, I'll probably use a Kingmaker with chaos res of at least 55% on the rest of the gear. And then you can, if this other stuff is cheap, you can run it. Helmet with 9% increased physical damage taken for nearby enemies, which is a 86 Elder Helm, which is pretty crazy, which is why I don't even have that in my actual build, and this is the end game gear. So then for the notes, maybe you could get a curse on a glove for the vulnerability, but right now we're going to be using a trigger wand for the end game with triggering automatically the weapon skills, which is Bone Offering, Desecrate, Vulnerability. I want to automatically cast these, which is just through Convocation and Flame Dashing. So that sounds really fun. Through automatically trigger. Trigger's so broken when you don't use phase run. So early game, and it's like early end game for me, because my end game goes till I one button AFK, or I'm just full AFKing everything. Like, I'm not done for a long time. So Victoria Flight boots, if you can cap the chaos without needing the boots, so then you get AoE move speed, and you can also use a Garb of the Ephemeral for AoE crit strike damage immune. It'll make the enemies unable to deal crits nearby to the AG, which is pretty fucking insane. I like it a lot, and that's what I would recommend. But otherwise, main things you just need are Kingmaker and the 55 Chaos, and then you can replace some of the gear as you go, because the weapon is like, as long as you keep it alive, which with this helmet and the build is pretty good. So then for the body, I went for a Shaper body, +1 active skill gems, life. For the glove, we can craft minion damage. For the boot, we can go for a +1 race specter gems, which can help us get the extra level to get it to 25, so you get the extra specter, so we can have 2 Carnage Chieftains and 2 Host Chieftains. You have the 2 Carnage Chieftains, 2 Host Chieftains from Ashen Fields Act 7, and then I run move speed life still. You can run 30 move speed if you want. On the Ami, I went for a Hunter Amulet. I'd be an 82, and we went for Intelligence Skill Gems. This is really fucking rare, and it takes like 500 to like 1,000 alterations. It's really insane. But, yeah, and then we'd probably just Awaken or Orb this, to be honest, and take it with like some other mod, some other influenced mod that's pretty neat, like maybe +1 zombie. We could get a +1 zombie, +1 intelligence with an Awaken or Orb. So anyone who watched the video got that extra info. The unset rings I kept simple because, like I said, they're going to be pretty annoying to get even in the end game. So obviously then you can do like Redeemer Orb stuff to do minion damage. And here I showed we can get Endurance Charge crafts with June unveils of item level 75 plus of jewelry, of amulets and rings. So then I crafted basically 12% damage reduction on my rings and amulet. It's pretty sick. It's pretty sick. Then I kept a simple Stygian Vice, and then got the jewels a little bit more complicated. So added minion LE res. I added the blind and minion damage, and then we have minion damage plus fizz damage for the rest. And then the large cluster jewel, I went for Primordial Bond Rotting Claws. I forgot to show you what the extra one was. I showed that I had Rotting Claws, but I didn't show that I'm not going to run Renewal. 6% Renewal is not enough. It's basically the same as Vicious Bite. They both look fucking terrible, and I'd rather run Vicious Bite at this point. So then I'll just run Primordial Bond because they didn't nerf it, and I still like running my support golems. And thanks, GGG. They didn't need a nerf, so good. Good, man. Feels good. That actually needs a buff, maybe, in comparison to the aura shit. How strong the auras are, it's gonna replace my golems every fucking time. It's so insane. Yeah, as like a defense. So we already pretty much know where it's gonna go in the end. We have our 2 ways of doing it. Or block is real good, or the aura stacking guardian. Very cool. I like both. One's more AFK, obviously. One's more expensive, I think. One's going to be way more expensive. And so I'm glad we started with this early endgame Necro. And I think the zombies are going to feel pretty good. and we can work in a second cluster pretty easily if we just wanted to sacrifice a bunch of this block that's on the skill tree, because we're at softcore and we're not hardcore. We could just put it into here and then take a second cluster if we have the extra currency, and boom, big fucking damage, because we know what an extra Rotting Claws is going to do with that extra Impale. If we can get the Dread Banner enchant, that would be pretty cool, because we've invested in our Dread Banner. Maybe we could get Awakened Generosity. What about Awakened Melee Fizz for the zombies? So they have Intimidate. So quickly I'll go through these endgame skills and what I put in each thing. So like I said, we're gonna trigger Bone Offering, Desecrate Vulnerability. We have Dread Banner Pride. So then the Dread Banner is on Generosity, and you can go Awaken Generosity pretty early. I have my Animate Guardian, Ray Spectre, Meat Shield, Blood Magic. Blood Magic's for the Spectres, so they don't use mana because they have life regen and no mana regen. So they spam their abilities for the Frenzies and Power Charges. And the Animate Guardian I explained in the notes. And we have the Meat Shield for the first time. I don't normally use this, but hey, it looks pretty cool. Raise Zombie. I have this really neat setup. I really like it, and Pulverize is one of the core things, along with all this other shit. Obviously, Awaken Multi is going to be absolute insanity when we get it. Oh my god, because it allows us the extra slam, which allows us to fuck with the cooldown some more. I can't wait. And I went for the Casting Damage taken level 1 with the Immortal Call level 3 and the Frostwall level 8, so that you have this, I think it's level 10 actually. So you have this cool setup where you reduce the damage of not just physical but also elemental by 26%, and this should be pretty good. I'm not sure how much armor we're gonna have, so it depends. If we have like 5,000 armor or so, we can probably go Molten Shell, to be honest, a level 10 Molten Shell over this Immortal Call, so that's a side thing. But we'll have to see at the exact point. But usually I just keep this as a like, hey, start with Immortal Call, because the percent is really cool. It's really, really cool when you don't have armor and your gear might suck, because you went for mods. And yeah. And then I went for Stone Golem, Chaos Golem, Val Summon Skelly plus Feeding Frenzy. And so I figured that we could have some extra support. And then the Val Summon Skelly with the Feeding Frenzy is funny because, well, tons of Skellies, and you have the Val Skelly. And then for Blight, I thought that could be pretty good with a dash still. And then, like, I think that it could be helpful for the Impale. And then we have Flame Dash in my Unset Ring. And my Flame Dash is bugged, so it causes that. I actually had a bug earlier where I finished my entire path of building for all of this stuff, all the early, mid, end game for this whole build, and then I was doing the skills, and then it crashed, and I lost everything and had to redo it all. And so I was literally almost done, and I didn't know that was going to happen, and then it happened. So I saved this thing like 5 times as I was going, and we're finally done, and we're in the final part of just recording it and putting it out for you guys. It's pretty sick. I'm super excited, and yeah, it's a really cool build, and it's a neat start for how, like, little... Yeah, there's going to be so much to do. So little here. There's so much you can do, and this is Harvest League again. I'm so excited, dude, and I hope you look forward to all the stuff. If you want to, you can look into my old stuff of like the Baron. I don't know yet, to be honest. That's the truth. That's the honest truth. I don't know if I'm gonna do my Baron build again with a different twist. I don't know if I'm gonna do aura stacking yet with a twist. I don't know if I'm going to... Because the strength stacking looks pretty funny. It looks pretty funny. I don't know if it'll be the best thing ever. Who cares? Who cares, maybe? It might be fun. Nostalgic and interesting. You can look up all my stuff, though. I've done a bunch. I've been doing minions and this type of melee physical minion thing for like a year now. It's pretty crazy. But either way, I'm going to take this opportunity with my Patreon, my YouTube members who financially support the channel. I can't do this without you guys, so thank you guys for all the support. And thank you to anyone new who joins the Patreon or the YouTube member stay. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye!